So, welcome to episode 2. If you haven't checked out any of the other episodes, this episode 1 is right there. But make sure you go check it out. So, the idea of this playlist is that we are going to take a Lovable website and we're going to get it ranking into Google. So, I made a whole full video about what all this means, but we're basically going to convert this website from a Vite React and Lovable to a really good ranking website, and we're going to use a framework called Astro. Now, today is going to be cool because you'll quickly learn a couple of bits about Claude Code, how to set it up, and at the very least, you'll understand how to download a Lovable website to your computer, your desktop. I have a cool one in here via GitHub, and you can make some edits up here, and I'll show you just a quick part in there backwards and forwards about how to change things, so you actually don't have to pay for those Lovable credits because you'll have Claude anyway. So let's get this started. It's going to be cool and fun. So I think let's first start out with Claude. Now I'll minimize this old mate in here. I'll come back in here. So all you need is Claude. So Claude Code, you can come look it up. So Claude Code is a AI coding assistant. There is many places and many ways to add that inside your computer. So it lives on your computer, or if you even use any other code spacing tool, anywhere where you can have code and code in, this will work. And it's really good, and it stands out above any of the other coding tools. And believe me, I've used the Gemini once. I've used all the ones in VS Code, and I have used the Quinn ones. The thing about Claude Code is like the actual code is pretty smart because you've got multiple agents. There's lots of extra development that goes with Claude Codes and plugins you can install with Claude Codes that causes multiple agents to go onto it. Plus it uses Claude, and believe me when I say I've tested all of them. I've tested it on VS Code. I've tested all the VS Code plugins as well. Claude just gets it right the first time, so you don't have to go backwards and forwards. Now, if you've done any sort of vibe coding, trying to fix a problem that it does gets pretty hard. So, me myself only know the basics. I've started many years ago with HTML and PHP. I don't even think PHP exists anymore, but once it goes off and does its thing, you kind of need a bit of a knowledge to know where the files goes and where it goes on about. But even when things aren't right, it sometimes gets difficult to phrase things right for it to get it fixed, or prompt things right to get it fixed. So Claude Code just does it. It gets it right, like most of the time, all the time. I like when I say that. Just stop trying with the other ones. The other ones, you all have to install API keys. Claude Code works with your Claude subscription. So you do need a Claude subscription as such. I have the max plan, but you can have the pro plan, which is $20, and it works on here. And you get so many more prompts in it. I think there is a limit. I don't actually know what the limit is for the $20. But you get like a 4-hour stand down. So it just works a lot better, especially when you're going to download and get it into Lovable as well. So Claude Code lives on the computer. It's a CLI, command line interface, so you need it somehow. So if you have Mac, then it works okay. I think in Windows it works in PowerShell, but actually in Windows you install a thing called Linux for Windows. So Linux for Windows, is it just in here? It's called WSL. So anyway, if you have Windows, get this one. Now I think Claude Code actually works with normal PowerShell within Windows. It might work, so I'm not sure if it. Yes, it does. I actually don't know. No, it does work. However, I think getting WSL installed within your Windows environment works better. Now, Mac and Linux, it just works anyway, because Mac is kind of Linux anyway in the back end. But anyway, that works. But for Windows, you need to have WSL, and then you'll have a thing called Ubuntu. So Ubuntu is just a Linux distribution, and it brings up a command line interface like this. Now, I'll go very slow when I explain things in the command line interfaces. But first things first, we're just going to set up our Claude. So what we'll do is we'll go through here. Boom. So let's just go through. I am going to try maximize this a little bit. And I can close that. I just had to check out. So Control++. Yeah, that makes it bigger for us. So we'll go through in here. Extract this a little bit in through here, and hopefully you can see a little bit better. And what I'll do is I'll just drag this out through like this and zoom in a bit more. Sweet, there we go. So I already have Claude installed, but it's all right, we can do it again. It sort of writes it over anyway, and we're going to go through a little bit of a Linux learning curve. So literally to install Claude, we're going to come to the Claude website. We're going to hit that copy code in here, and we're going to come back in here, and you can just right click it and it will paste it in. Now, running most commands and installing a lot of things in Linux requires supervisor passwords, so it's called sudo. So sudo means act as a supervisor. Or administrator, sorry, not supervisor, administrator. Have administrator rights, and it will ask you for your password, and I will type that in. Now good, that will install. So that's really cool, that installed, that works. Now, the next two things is not a must-have, but I think you should at least have that installed. Now, if you come in here, I can't reinstall those for you because it will just give a bunch of errors, but it's called Super Claude. Now, Claude is really good by itself, but there's this cool little framework called Super Claude that helps create multiple agents when you start building things. So it's kind of like a big system prompt when it comes to Claude. Okay, so it's a really cool tool that just gives it that extra cherry on the top. So just come in here, and all you have to do is follow the instructions. Okay, so it's what this does is it helps us orchestrate the building of things better, because you know how you do a normal prompt and you say act as a prompt provider, or act as Alex, you are Alex Hermosi, please do this using this. All right, so that's kind of how prompting works, but this kind of does that where it has the option, and it has all these essential commands and tools that makes personas. In fact, they call it personas in here. So it gives your Claude Code a bit better thinking into it when it does. So come to this website, come in here and install it. So there's 3 commands. I used this one. So it's about downloading it, and we're going to go over Git soon. The framework, install that, and we're also going to, once you have it in here, there's just one install command, this one in here. And then you have it up and working. So get yourself Claude, install this one in here. It will go through a sequence. And once you have that, come through and look up context 7. Now, context 7 MCP. So context 7 is an MCP server, and means it's a server that sits in the cloud, and it has all the latest information on all the latest packages and all the latest package coding structures, API calls. So it's like a really good knowledge base on the up-to-date systems and settings. So for example, GPT-5 has just come out. However, if you would ask any large language module what the structure of GPT-5's API key might be, it might be different and won't actually know that GPT-5 works, because large language modules is always a couple of years behind from what they have learned. However, when you tell it, please connect to Context 7 and get the latest information on this program / code / anything, this is where it will get it from, Context 7. Now, really good, you can just come in here and you can look up Claude Code, and there you go, Claude Code installation, and you can actually just add this right in through to this. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm just going to hit the paste in there. And I actually do think I've made this too big. but you'll see I actually have it in there already. Okay, so that's that one installed. So then you're pretty much up and ready to go. So let's go through in here. Now, what we are going to do is, going to move this a little, oops, let's move me a little bit down in here. I'll make this a little bit smaller, put me down the bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to download the, we're going to download our Lovable website onto our system using GitHub. But first we need to make some folders. Now, because I'm using WSL on top of my Windows, everything, my Windows folder is, so it runs like a virtual computer inside your terminal in here, is the best way to explain it. And your computer's shared drives is in the mount folder. So Linux, everything has got / command. So to find my C drive in Windows, so to find these folders in here, I need to go to the /mount area. So it's going to come through in here. So I'm going to go to cd, change directory, -mount, -C drive. And now I created a thing called projects. Okay, so in fact, we'll go in here. So in here, I'm going to make a new directory, mkdir, make directory, and I'm going to call this Claude SEO. All right. So change directory to Claude SEO. So what we're going to do is we are going to download our GitHub, our Lovable code, and we're going to create. So we're going to create an old folder for our old stuff and a new folder for our new page. So I'm going to say make a directory called new, and then I'm going to say oops, and I'm going to say make a directory called old. All right, and mkdir old. Sorry, my typing is not the best. So that means we have two directories in here. So ls is list, new and old, and I can also come to my Windows and I have this folder in here called Claude, and there's two folders in here. So I could have used either of them. So I have tried this setup, so converting Lovable sites to Next.js, and this is kind of what I had to do in this to get the conversion working really well. There are programs for it, but Claude understands this better like this. So we have those folders in here, and this is where we're going to start Claude. So what we're going to do is you're just going to type in Claude. Now, if it's the first time you are going to sign up to this, it's going to ask you to connect with either an API key, you don't need that, or your Claude subscription. So it's should look something like, is it connect? Authenticate. Oops. No, anyway, when you sign up, it will show the command. So / is all the commands that's in here. Agents bash config. I'll log in. So you will have one of these two options. Select this one, and it will pop up a website for you with a unique code, and you put in your code in there, and you're good to go. So I'm just gonna hit escape. And I don't need that, I'm connected. So make sure you put your contact details in here so you can connect to it, and you'll know you'll be able to connect to it when you have the set model in here and you have something that looks like this. So it's got all your models in here. It shows which ones you can use for it. Now, another great thing to do is come down here and use Opus for planning. Use Opus 4.1 for planning, and then Sonnet afterwards. So obviously Opus is the bigger thinking model. So what we want to do is we want to use Opus for our planning, and then when we're starting to build, it uses Sonnet. That way you save a bit of money on that. else you can have this one in here. That's the recommended one, but I've been using this for, this is literally brand new. This is a new option. So we'll use this out and see how that goes. So we got that working. Sweet. So next thing is we are gonna go and set up and get our website from Lovable onto our computer. So how do we do that? It's with a thing called GitHub. So I'm gonna come in here. You can just Google GitHub. It actually just comes to the website. So anyway, GitHub. So the best way to explain GitHub is it's like an in-between syncing tool. Apart from a lot of things, it also has the option where it's called a repository. So your files kind of live on GitHub. Now GitHub does a lot of things and it does a lot of cool stuff as well, but you will have a system like Lovable or your hosting service, and then you will have your development area, and GitHub kind of sits in the middle. So if I change something on my development side of things and I want to send it over to GitHub, then it adds, copies things over and changes it, like syncing in between. So instead of having to copy the file all the way over to your server, you can do it really easy with the GitHub command line. So don't let it scare you too much, because it's really easy, because I'm Lovable. And I'll quickly show you. Let's go get a quick website to quickly add. So I did this cool thing in here yesterday, and I did the Netflix dashboard. Okay, so Netflix dashboard. So I'll show you how we're gonna do this. And this is, if you at least learn something from this, this is how you're gonna save a lot of money with Lovable by editing your Claude Code on your device. Okay, so this is a website. It's a dashboard that I made with Lovable, and it's just a CRM. Your contacts live in here, and it's a pretty cool little website. So in here, in Lovable, on the top right hand side, it's got the little logo in there. So it's going to go sync your project. So obviously you need to sign into GitHub. Make sure you're signed in. Make sure you are logged into GitHub. Create a username and password. Do not use the connect with Google thing. Make sure you use a username and password, because you're going to use that username and password all the time. But you're just going to go connect with GitHub, and Lovable will connect this automatically for you. So I'm going to connect a new project. This is going to be my GitHub in here. I'm going to click that, and it's going to connect it in there, and it's going to sync it all up for you. So that's going to be your GitHub repo. Sweet. Okay, so have that in there, and we'll open a new tab. And the next thing you're going to need is Git CLI. Now you can do it in the terminal in here as well when you have the terminal, or you can use the CLI for it. So all I did is, it's just a separate tool. You don't have to have this one. You can use it in PowerShell if you install it. You got to remember your username and password for it. So what I did is I connected my GitHub to my Google. So to log into GitHub, I have to log into Google, and if I want to use a CLI option for it, it gets a little bit frustrating because I've got to create a token key every time if I use any of the other computer or devices. But if you actually just use the CLI tool, it just works a bit easier. So all I did was download the GitHub CLI tool, and it comes in Windows, and it opens a very similar thing to this. It's a very similar tool to what we have, and it's another command line option for GitHub. So and I'm quickly going to show you in here. So I'm going to do the same thing, but this is connected now to Windows. It's a Windows version of this. So you can do ls, you can do dir. So we're going to go to your C drive. This is your C drive. Then we're going to go to, we're just going to make it projects. I think I have a projects folder in here. And I'm going to go make a directory YouTube test. I just want to quickly show you this. mkdir YouTube test. cd YouTube test. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to save yourself a lot of money with Lovable and what we're going to end up doing. So just a little bit deviating from the main course. So we have this folder in here. Now, to download things and sync things with GitHub, you can just go to anything like ChatGPT and ask for help. But this is what you have to do. You can just copy and paste these commands. Go to ChatGPT, ask for GitHub commands. Say you have a GitHub repo, this is it. How do I download and save things backwards and forwards? But when we loaded this in here in Lovable, this is called our repo. So you can go hit copy in here. Now, if I come back to my GitHub, and this one was called, what did we call this? This is going to be Contact Flicks. And there it is in there. And this is all the files. You'll see this is all our files in here. This is your entire website from within Lovable. Okay, so to get it over in here, we are going to say, so we're in our present working directory, and I'm going to say git clone, and I'm going to paste that full folder in here, and I'm going to get all of that extracted into my file onto my local computer. All right, so LA is there, there's the dashboard, and all my files is in there from Lovable. Now, how do you edit this with Claude Code? So let's go back in here. I'm just going to go exit in here, and what we're going to do is we're going to go change our directories. We're going to go to project, projects, and we're going to go to, what do I call it again? YouTube test. And we're going to go to this. All right. So here's our, this is where our website, and we're going to do this soon for the other side. I just want to show you this quickly, how to edit things within here. So we're going to run Claude in here. I'm going to say, yes, this is in here. Now, you got Claude. Claude needs to understand how all this works. I just want to change this to, we're going to use this only to save a bit of tokens. Hey, what is happening here? Not sure what I did there. I don't want to use my Opus tokens. I want to use it for later on. All I'm going to say is read the code base and understand what this is. So it's going to read a bunch of things. It's going to analyze it. It's going to see it's a website as such. And then we're going to quickly get it just to edit a little thing. And I'm going to show you how to re-upload it and what it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to tell it to read all this. And what we're going to do is hit back to Lovable. And we're going to come back, open this website. And all we're going to say is, I don't know why it doesn't like this, but still downloading it. We're just going to want it to change one thing for us. So just give it a couple of minutes. Anyway, so we're going to come back in here. So Claude Code found a bunch of things. It says what it is. And all I'm going to say is, what did I call it initially? Let's say we want to change the basic business name, or the basic name for it says Contact Flicks. Let's say on the main page there is a name called Contact Flicks. I want to change that to CRM Flicks. This is in the nav bar. I want it changed for all the code. Alright, so it's going to go through, do its thing. We're missing out a bunch of things, but it's all right. So it's searching for for it. It's going to try find contact flicks in here. And hopefully I got this right. Found the 9 lines for it. So I'll pause this quickly and we'll see where we go. I'm not going to waste your time while it goes through it and do all the editing. So when you run Claude Code first, especially in the directory, it's going to say it wants to make some changes, and I'm just going to say yes to all. So it's always going to ask you to make changes or run commands. I'm just going to say yes to all for all of these. Now while it does this, I'm going to also come in here. I'm going to click the top button here. I'm going to come through in here. I'm going to come to Ubuntu. So I actually don't know why this looks a little bit different, probably because I zoomed in. But I'm going to go to this project. So JavaScript, Java Code, Linux has an option to run a virtual test environment and test server within your computer, so you can make the edits, test it, and see what it looks like. So to do all that, you need to be in that folder. So we're going to go to Mount Drive C projects / YouTube. Ooh, what do I call it? YouTube test. And in here, you're going to say npm install. So this just means it's going to install the necessary dependencies for your project. Now remember, in the first time that we came in through here, we are set in here in the first training that Lovable is built on Vite and React, and therefore it is gonna, that's the dependence, that's what it's built on. So this is gonna do the same thing. Eventually, when we do our next one, we are gonna install the Astro environment, so we need that installed. So just in here, npm install, and it's gonna install a bunch of things that we need for our project. Now, that's all done. See how easy it was? And by the way, this would have cost you just about nothing for it. So instead of having this in here, we are gonna have it display cam flicks instead. So just let it do its little thing in there. And I'm just gonna say restore to this version for a second, so Lovable doesn't get confused. So I'm just showing you how to do the Lovable things. If you are more into the SEO part of it and how to do the Astro for it, then you can skip past, but I think everyone should explain, know what we're going to do, because we're going to build from this. We're going to do something very similar. However, we are going to make use of these two folders. So eventually we'll have our working folders, and we're going to download our old code in here. And then we are going to update our new code in here, and that's going to be our working environment. And like I said, it kind of just works for me, and I'll show you the prompt as well that I used. It just works like that. It's really good. And yeah, this is how I use it with Netlify and it. And I'm just going to pause this again while this installs. But hopefully that kind of makes sense to you. Like I said, it's going to be a long thing. There's going to be a lot of there's method behind the madness. So let me pause this and I'll get back to you. Okay, so that's installed. So it just means we're going to run a virtual server, a development server on our computer, and I'll show you how that works. So just in here, we're going to say npm run dev. Now this is just a command to run our development server. Hit the enter button in there. And this is what I mean. We'll get to this later on. You saw the Vite parts in here. Now you'll see this loads really fast. So to get back again, I'm going to refer to this quite a lot. Vite is a lot of config happens in your browser, a lot of rendering in your browser. It makes it bad for SEO. However, the servers are really light running, so therefore it makes it easy to develop. So all we're going to do is do the localhost one. So localhost means your local computer, and it's going to come in here, and I'm going to paste that in there. And that should load it in a couple of minutes. You should see it in here. So it changed that to CRM Flicks. So have that in there, contact flicks, CRM Flicks. Just a basic change. Now, you can go hard out with Claude, change a lot of things in here, but that's it, okay? So you can go backwards and forwards and change anything. I don't want to go too hard out on this little thing in here because I think it's actually quite cool. It's the total CRM dashboard. It's got all the reports and analytics. And these are like your clients, this is the programs. Really cool little dashboard, by the way. But now, this is on our local device, so I can come back in here. I can hit the Control C button, so that cancels it out. And then I'm going to go through in here and I'm going to swap over. Where is that one? Oh, there it is. So we're back in this. And again, if you installed GitHub on your browser, then that's okay as well. You can have that and that's fine. The reason I got stuck is because I didn't want to create another token, but I have this one in here. But the commands is going to be the same. So I'm just going to say that I'm going to add all this now. Everything I've done in changes is the git add to our repo. And then, so it just means I'm adding everything. Yeah, GitHub has like a working folder that it pushes stuff back up. And I'm just going to add everything that I've just changed. So everything dot means I'm adding everything to it. And then I'm going to add a comment to it. So git commit -m, and it's just adding a comment in your page, and you'll see where this shows up. But this is change the name. And then I'm just going to push it all up. So git push, that means it takes everything from my computer and syncs it back to GitHub. All right, so, oops, and I have to go back and see why this doesn't work. Actually, the reason that didn't work is because while this was all playing along, I went and did the restore version in here. And you'll see in here, I actually did a restore from a previous model in it. Oops. Yeah. So I did that one in there. So it changed the code. So it said the code's not synced up to my computer. But then all I said was the force button in here. So it forcefully uploaded all that in there. Now, you can always try and you'll see the changes. So if I come back in here and I say add alters 1, 2, 3 to the top of the README page. So you have this in here in your repo. It's called the README page in here, README. So I'm just telling it to add something in here. So going to go a little bit off top. I just want you to understand how it works and how to get it down so we can start editing things. So at the very least, you're going to start learning how to add this. So, oops, I'm going to go again in here. I'm just going to say git add. I'm going to say add alters 1, 2, 3. And I'm just going to go git force. We're going to upload that. Now, if we give this a couple of seconds and reload this page, and then we're going to reload this page in here as well, and it will give a sec to go out and sync all of these in, but you'll have everything added. So here we go. See in here in the bottom it says GitHub has added this in here, so added from GitHub. Now this doesn't show up all the time. I know, there you go, it actually auto refreshed. So we have downloaded, we have re-uploaded, and that's kind of how it works. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Now let's get back to the project. Now if anything else and you watched the video to here, this is going to save you a lot of money. Just that step by downloading, uploading, changing in Claude Code is going to save you a lot of money. But now what we need is this actual site for us. So we're going to go back to our dashboard and we are going to find this other website in here. Now, because we're going to go from Vite to our new Astro environment, we're not going to bother re-uploading it to Lovable. It's not going to make any difference because Lovable can't run the Astro environment. So we're going to use something else like Netlify for it, but I just need to find this actual website. And this one here. Now I've already done the get one thing for it. So if I click in here, I actually have it already saved in here for us. Okay, so this is it's already in GitHub for it. I just need to go download it. So I'm going to click the copy button in here. Now a couple of things in this website that's really important. I have the booking calendar in here. That is a embedded code, so we're going to need to work through it in that. And the contact codes in here, and then the services and pricing is very specific to what she offers. Now when I did this with Next.js, it actually replicated the site exactly like it is, and that's what I want. Okay, so we are going to come back to here. We are going to come back to that folder that we wanted. So I'm going to come back down. I'm going to come back down and cd Claude. And in Claude, we're going to put this into our old folder. And we are going to git clone that folder in there. So once it does this, it's all good. We don't need anything else for this because I'll just move this out the way. We're not going to re-upload it. We just wanted to download it, and it's in our old folder. And if we ls through here, it's in the Melissa Hairstyles online. And if I cd through that one, I can see that's all in there. So that's all I need. And I shut this one in here. Don't even need this right now. Don't need that running right now. We're going to do a very similar thing for Astro later on in here, but we're just going to exit out of here. Now we need to go change into our folder. So cd, and we're going to go to Claude, and we want to be in this folder. Okay, you want to be in this folder here, because from here we're going to tell Claude to go into the old folder and to go into the new folder. So I'm going to go to Claude, and all I'm going to say is we are going to start a new project. Soon we will create a new site, a new website, and so it's // because present directly / and I should move my head out of the way again, maybe up here. We will create a new folder in the new folder. Our old website is in // old/ I just need to find this actual folder in here. What I want you to do now is read the old website files, understand the files, understand all the website pages and where they are. Read it, understand it, so we understand it only. Once done, I will give you instructions. All right. So all this is going to do is it's going to go into, very similar to what we have done before, it's going to go into here and it's going to understand the whole thing, what it's about, and the structure and the different pages. So it needs to understand and know what it's about. Okay, so there you go. It's finding the pages through it. It understands that it should come, or we'll see what the summary says. We'll see what the summary says. I got one prompt, and we're gonna add this one prompt in here, and we're going to just let it go. Okay, we're going to change again. Claude Code will change Claude Code, and we will see what it shows up. So I'm going to show you this. We're going to let it be, and right, anyway, here we go. So really cool Claude Code. It's great like this. Perfect. I'm now going through the Hair by Melissa website. Here's my understanding, the tech stack that it's built out with, and got our pages. Great. Got our navbar for the countdown timer for the sale. We've got a metapixel in there. It's really important. Actually, forgot about that. Got the address design. All right. So here's our magic thing. So first we're going to change the model. Oops. And we're going to use Opus for this. Now we're going to hit enter. Then we're going to use Super Claude. So Super Claude is in here. So it's got all these commands in here. Slash bold. We're going to use the bold one. Okay. So I want hit the tab button, and I'm going to show you what makes this really cool and awesome. Now, move my head out the way again. This is the one main prompt I'm going to give it. And I'll copy this over. Like I said, this works for my Next.js conversions, so hopefully it works for this, because we need to swap between the directories. If you tell it to just convert what you have in there, it gets, number one, a bit confused and sidetracked and hallucinates, and number two, you have a bunch of messed up code in between. So hit this in here, and hopefully, no. So if you paste a lot of code into Claude Code instead of displaying it on the screen, it does this, but it's alright. We will go through Notepad. I just didn't want to type it all out again. So we're going to say bold, and then in bold we're going to have this. So, oh, very bad spelling. And can I zoom in this? So I'm going to tell it, build a website for Hair by Melissa. I have downloaded the old Lovable site in the old folder. This is a Vite and React code base. I wanted to build a new site using Astro in the folder called new. Understand the old code base. Understand the UI and UX. Read the text to help you. I've also downloaded page one. All right. We'll get to this soon. So I'll go through this and I'll remember to do this. So I only want the home page first. So what we're going to do is we're going to structure this out. We're going to build the home page first, and once the home page looks perfect and is perfectly laid out and structured, we're going to go to the next page, to the next page, to the next page. So build the home page out so we can test it. Pay attention to the layout, the errors you need to avoid. In the past time, I've created a copy of this layout, went wrong, the images was out of shape, the styles was missing. We need to recreate the code. So I'm just saying, this is what I want you to do. So we're skipping normal prompting because we have a build system in here, which is really cool. And you're going to see it's going to launch a couple of cool, awesome things. But we're going to say what we have, then we're going to say what we want, and then we're going to say what it's done wrong in the past. So I'm also then saying I wanted to plan out the layout. I'm also saying there's images that I've saved. So I actually saved this image and all the images in the website. We'll get to this part very soon. I just want you to understand this. The layout and design is important. So is the copy and the functionality. Plan, task, and use the review agent. So there's actually a review agent to review the text. We are using WSL and Ubuntu just so it understands our environment. So I'm going to hit the copy in here. All right, it's already got that in there. Before you hit enter, do this. This is another cool trick. So I'm going to come to the actual website, and there is a plug-in for Chrome called Go Full Page. So all it does is it screenshots the entire website. All right, missed that part in there. It's gonna do it again. So this loaded really slow. And we are gonna go full page again, and it loads up a pretty good picture for us. And so we're gonna save this in here because Claude Code and Claude can read images. I'm gonna hit the save button, and I'm just gonna come through and copy this quickly. Copy image. I'm just on the side screen here for a second. Oops. I'll have this and paste that in here. And remember I said page 1. Page 1. And it's page1.png. So that folder is in there. So all I'm telling Claude Code to do is telling it to go to our folders, read all this out, see what it's about, look at the fonts, look at the structure, look at the UI, UX, how it works, and then let's start creating this website. So to give you a bit of perspective what it looks like, here's an image what it looks like, but just go create this website as perfect as you can. So and you can go change it once it comes out wrong. I'm going to run it and then we'll eventually get back to it in episode 2, but let me just show you in episode 3. When I hit this, you're going to see it's using 5 tools. So it's separating, doing 5 tools for it. It's going to load things up. It's going to come up with a plan. And this is what really makes it so cool. It writes out a plan. This is why Claude Code is just a lot better. And in the background, it's going to use Opus for our planning, and then it's going to go out and understand and write through all of us. So understand, react, focus on the home page, the layout. I've already analyzed the old code base thoroughly, so I understand the structure. Now I need to do this, and it's just going to start doing this. It's a tool, page 1, and it's just going to go through and do all of this. And it actually runs multiple agents in the background. And it's just so cool, right? It's just so cool. So this is going to take a long time. And within the background, I'm going to be prompting backwards and forwards until we get a perfect page. So all I'm going to do, and I'm not going to video this for you because you don't need to see this, but I'm just going to go make sure we get this page. Once we get this page, I'm going to go to the next page, the next page, the next page, the next page, and build this out as close to, if not 100% perfect like this. And I might just ask it to do a little bit of animations in here because there's a little bit in here. And we don't want too much because the easier and faster it loads, the better SEO we have. But we'll get to optimizing it for SEO later. But we want to convert it to this. So, hope you understand all that. I wanted to show you how you can really save money by doing Lovable to GitHub to Claude Code and backwards and forwards. And there's different ways of skinning a CAD. You can also have VS Code on here as well if you want to go through it. You can try any of the other large language modules. Just remember you're going to pay for API keys as well. You have Claude anyway. If you have the Claude lower plan, it might time out after a while and you're going to wait 4 hours and keep going. But it will remember as long as you keep that window open. But at the very least, if you're not following along, I hope you understand how to add and save money with doing Claude Code and Lovable at the very least. So yeah, looking forward to this, and I'll show you what happens in episode 3 with all of this. It's going to take a long time. I'm going to go backwards and forwards. It's installing dependencies. Yeah, lots that's going to happen in here. Okay, so talk to you all soon.